Hello guys, welcome to another episode of Industry Voices. Today we are delving into one of the professions that I think is very demanding. It requires a lot of patience. I think people who actually take this profession, you have to be born for it because where? So if you guessed it right, yes, we have a teacher on board, and today with me is Siago with me, who is going to be taking us through what the teaching profession looks like. We're going to demystify myths, we're going to inspire, and we're going to learn. So as always, remember to subscribe even as we delve into the conversation today. So welcome to the show, Whitney.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah. So kindly introduce yourself.
Yeah, I am, as you have said, I'm Siago Whitney. I'm a teacher and I'm so glad to be here. This is the very first interview I'm having and I'm very glad and very ready to share everything teacher related.
Everything teacher related. So growing up, did you want to become a teacher?
I don't think anyone wants to be a teacher. I think this is something that most of us, we find ourselves like being teachers.
Mm-hmm.
It's something that you grow to love.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's a lot of things that when you're growing up, people tell you that you have to be a doctor, you have to be an engineer. Those are the courses that most people value and most people look up to.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I didn't want to be a teacher, but now being a teacher, I'm loving it.
Yeah, so what now took you into teaching?
Previously, as I've said, I didn't want to be a teacher.
Mm-hmm.
So, but when the person, like the teacher who was guiding me into selecting the courses, told me that the course that is more marketable, I didn't do like pure education. I did agriculture education and extension.
Mm.
So it's two courses in one.
Mm-hmm.
You can be an extension officer at the same time you can be a teacher.
Mm-hmm.
And then I wanted something that once I'm done with campus, I'm able to get employment and be able to stand on my own feet and provide for myself and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that's how I became a teacher.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
For most teachers and how I view it, it's a career that requires a lot of patience. Mm-hmm. In the sense of, kiangalia, when we were in high school, we used to give teachers stress and pressure and all that. Mm-hmm. Now you didn't want to become a teacher, but now you have to transition into this profession. Mm-hmm. What was it like?
Yeah, at first it was very hard.
Mm-hmm.
It was very hard, to be honest, because you are looking at people who they have high expectations on you. This is why people want you to mold them to be doctors, to be engineers, and these people, at the end of the day, if you don't bring them up well, and if maybe they're not able to get into that career, they might look back and put the blame on you. So the first thing when you're standing in front of students, you're not that confident, because at the back of your mind you're like, wow, what if I don't make sure these students get where they want to be? But the moment you get there, and the moment you start talking to these students and teaching them, you get to a point where it's so easy, it just flows. It's just like the first time you're making a meal, you might not make it so perfect, but the more you cook, the more you even come up with secret ingredients, and the food comes out so perfectly. So it's a learning process. I can't say that I'm there yet, but I'm moving towards it, and yeah, it's amazing so far.
Yeah, I love that illustration. And there's something that you mentioned that has piqued my interest in that. There's a lot of responsibility that is actually placed on teachers. What role do the individual students and also their parents have to play? Because at the end of it all, you can do your best, but it depends on an individual and what they want for their future. So what do you think about that? Because I think it's a little bit unfair for teachers.
Yeah, it's unfair, and something that currently, me being a teacher, it's a conversation that I constantly have with my students, and I'm like, if this is not a journey that I have to walk alone, we have to walk, and everyone has to be at their station and do what they're supposed to do. Because no matter how good I teach and you don't put in the work, or the parents don't take this, I've given out an assignment, your kid is at home, and you don't follow up to see what did the teacher give you, have you done it correctly, what are areas that you have weakness on, what can we do to ensure that you are making sure that you get yourself where you need to be. So it's everyone's responsibility, and I think now that you have talked about it, I can compare, currently teaching is a bit technical, because somehow all that responsibility has been put on the teacher.
Yeah.
And the students have like doesn't have this, like somehow the parents also support that. Yeah. So the parents don't like when you send a student home because the student has failed to do an assignment. The parent feels like you are like unaonea mtoto wake.
So they think now they side with the
student.
Yeah.
They don't like listen to what made you the teacher to send the student away. It's more of why is the student ana pick mtoto wangu hivyo and all that. So it's a challenge.
Yeah. And now coming to think about it in terms of even accountability, this is something that I see a lot of people lacking, in the sense of you don't see the responsibility or the part you had to play in something, but rather you blame it on the other person. So having to see it that it's even in schools, I think this is a problem, a pandemic that we actually have.
It's a real pandemic. I miss those days when mtoto alikuwa belong. The kid used to belong to the community. You see a boy and a girl wakiwa kwa street. The person mwenye amewapata, you have to punish them before they come and report. Currently somebody will pass by and like, huyo si mtoto wangu.
Yeah.
And they just leave them like that. Or so you walk around and the issue about drug and substance abuse. The student is smoking with a school uniform and nobody reports just because she's not my kid or he's not my kid. And sometimes you don't even blame this person because it's also the fear of I might come to report and then somebody are like, why do you have to unaonea mtoto wangu? Like such kind of stuff.
Yeah. And that's really interesting because now it brings the element of community and the element of now even let's move away from the teaching profession, but learning as a whole. You believe that the community plays a role in shaping people in the society. Yeah. That's a good one. That's a good one.
Yes.
Okay, so that I can tell is one of the challenges you faced in this teaching profession. Are there any other challenges that you've had?
Yes. The other challenge is also like we are not protected as teacher as much. Like currently the Kenyan child who is our client is always right or she's always right. And that means that we don't have a say. We don't have a say. Like in case a student goes and reports that a teacher kinged this student, there is no case about let's listen to what the teacher has. Yes, they might be listened to, but they already know that this student is the one who is in the right. And I'm not saying we should bring back corporal punishment, but I'm saying this is an African child. Like, the common saying that spare the rod and spoil the child. So these are the kid that in as much you have to talk to them, you also have to like inflict not like serious amount of pain, but they should also know that whatever the seriousness of the situation or the importance of them like obeying, because we're not just, our aim as teachers is not just to produce A's, like we produce kids who have A's and B pluses and all the quality grade. We also want to have people who can actually go outside and have good social skills. Okay, now that you've brought the element of discipline and all that, do you believe that, like you said, you have to inflict some sort of kind of pain for this, like, do Kenyan children hawezi sikia bila some sort of punishment? Au ni wa Kenya lazima uwapige kidogo. I'm not saying sio kama ile wakati kwa tunavunjwa. Like looking back and like there are so many things. Unajua kama kitambo when you go to report something, for example your parent unaenda kumwambia tulichapwa, utavunjwa. They will not even listen to your side of the story, and I think that is what we used to lack. So I'm like, let's listen to what this kid has, and also this kid has to listen to us, because communication has to go both ways. But if you just give the ears to the kid and not give the ear to the teacher, then the kid has like mtoto atafanya madharau akijua at the end of the day wakinichapa, I just walk to a nearest TSC office and the teacher will be interdicted. And sometimes I said mtoto amemchapa uchungu sana, and then the issue sasa mwanafunzi anaanza anakuwa very indisciplined because there's nothing you can do. Utamwambia enda ukote takataka alafu that is all. So ni nini hiyo student ashaifanya karibu uchizi kwa like guy huyu amenifika mwisho, Yeah, it's a lot. Alafu like mona recently in the news where wanafunzi wanachoma mashule.
Yeah.
Unapata wanafunzi wanaua walimu.
Yeah.
Wanajua unajua like that even reminds me something. Unaanga hiyo wakati a student amechapa mwalimu, amemuumiza or sometimes hata anaenda to an extent amemuua. Do you know this student will be, even these people who come to interrogate or come to investigate about that scenario, they don't come with the mentality of what did the student do. It's usually the question is turned around, what did the teacher do that provoked the student to do whatever it is that they did. So there's no justice for the teacher. So you mwalimu umeumiziwa, umejeruhiwa, and at the end of the day, this student who killed a teacher or this student who killed a teacher will walk free. But if it's a teacher mwenye ameumiza mwanafunzi, hata si hata kumuumiza, hata labda tu ni kumchapa kiboko, this teacher will be interdicted, and sometimes even unakuwa your TSC number is taken away. So you see.
Yeah. So there's a lot of victim blaming, and people hold teachers to a very high regard. That there's no room for mistakes when it comes to teachers. Okay, now this is exposing me to a lot. First of all, I don't think I've ever looked at us students as clientele, because now that I look at it, they're clients. I've always looked at them as students. I've never looked at them in terms of their clients and all that, but that makes a lot of sense. Now, moving away from all these mashidas,
Yes.
So looking at it, what has been your most memorable experience when it comes to teaching?
Okay, one of the things and which I really love is that I get the chance to like relive my high school life. I'm like,
yeah. You guys have it on a daily.
Yes. Like I remember back in high school I was a nerd, but right now like I'm back and we are like when we are having these functions and I'm going out and I'm interacting, I'm like, yeah, this is what I used to miss out as a student, but at least now
you can have it.
I can have it.
So
life is giving me like literally a second chance.
Oh my god. And it's like you guys now go for buckets. I love that.
And then another thing is when you teach a student and this student makes it in life, and then somewhere down the line somebody texts you and like, I have graduated. Yes, I actually have one student that I taught immediately I finished high school, who texted me and he told me that he had graduated, he's working, and then he's thinking about starting a mother. So like, wow.
Well, that feels nice.
Feels nice. So in as much there's all these mashidas to think about that, and you're like, that gives you like the strength to like constantly showing up, because in as much kuna mbegu mbaya, they're also
I love mbegu mbaya. Yes,
there are also those good students who like appreciate us and they do some really kind things, and even sometimes even it portrays them even in their performance and everything.
Nice. Yeah, and I think your success that's one way to know you're successful as a teacher. Nice. So now that you've brought us now to class, what was your first time teaching like? The first day you got into a school as a teacher?
Scary. It was so scary. As I said, like it was like immediately after high school. I was young. I was 18 years old.
Ooh.
I was tiny. Like currently, niko na kamwili. But that time you're like a shorty, and then you have students who are taller than you.
Was it a mixed school or
it was a mixed school. It was the same school. You can imagine you're sharing a staff room with the same teachers who used to teach you, people who used to respect. But with time, like you learn, and then the students now that they are looking up to you and they are asking you questions, you realize kumbe I'm on another level than them.
Yay!
That boosts your confidence.
Alright. And now that you've mentioned staff room, now another experience. Sai unakula chakula yenye si as must today. Kwa nini chakula ya staff room inakuanga tamu hivi? Ama is all good.
Class
imepanda.
It's one of the level nyingine. Sikujiringa sana. But let me just say it the way it is.
Okay, so sawa. How? Now, do you have people in this career that maybe you look up to, that what's your end goal as a teacher? Do you want to be a principal? Like when you look at your career trajectory, what does it look like?
I can say that I'm a very radical person,
Uh-huh.
and I don't know who I might decide to be, but I don't think I'll retire being a teacher.
I love that.
It's not something that I see myself like retiring being a teacher,
Mm-hmm.
or even if I retire being a teacher, I see myself exploring other fields at the same time. So I might work them side by side, or I might like completely decide to move to another profession.
That now brings me to our favorite segment, which is demystifying myths. People think that teaching is a static career, that you have, once you are a teacher for life. Is that true?
Yeah, when you look at our terms and conditions as teachers, it is that once you are employed with TSC and you decide to like, and that is one of the things I kind of like I'm like, in our 20s, want to explore several courses, but once you have been employed with the TSC, it kind of like restricts you. You can't, once you want to move to another profession, you have to not retire, how do we call it, resign. So you resign like completely and umeamua like this. So if you want to have to move to another field, you have to be like sure that this is something that itaivana itauma nje, because you don't have another room, a room to come back to education unless you now start your own private private school. So that's all in a restrict. So that myth is kind of true. Yeah. So once you have left education, you have left education. There's now when there's a from high school and then you move to colleges and universities, tertiary. But you can't come to high school, back to high school. Once you have resigned, you have resigned. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And what is this about this TSC number? Was it that everybody, even somebody who has just maybe graduated, the first thing that they look for is the TSC number? Why is it important?
Yeah. So why it's very important, because sometimes you find there's a lot of teachers who are qualified teachers, but they are not employed, because most schools will prefer employing this person who does not have TSC number, because they can pay him low or pay her low and she'll be okay with it.
Yeah.
But now this teacher who is TSC employed, he's walking around jobless. So this is a way of ensuring that if you are a teacher, you have the TSC number, you are getting the employment, so that to reduce that part about getting cheaper.
Oh. So it's actually to protect the teachers?
Yeah, it's actually to protect the teachers to some extent.
I've never looked at it that way. I don't know much about it, but I hear people just want this TSC number. Yeah, and that's a good thing, because people who are most of the time employed by the board of the school, I think they are paid really low. Yeah.
So the other thing why it's also so important for people to have the TSC number is for the accountability, because in case you mess, like you have heard about where the teacher has a relationship with the student. So if you are found in that kind of a scenario, you are supposed to you have to be interdicted. That is, if you are TSC employed, or you might not even be able to get that TSC number. But you see, if you don't have the TSC number, you might have a relationship, you pregnant a student and like get away with it. But if you are a teacher and you have the TSC number, then you know the seriousness of the actions that you do.
Nice. Another myth is that you guys have a long holidays. Mnaenda bana, watoto kufunga, pia nyinyi mnafunga.
I don't know why you guys always have a problem with that, but imagine handling kids, handling all those dramas that I've told you about. We deserve all those holidays. In fact, we should be having more holiday.
Maybe just a month.
Yes.
A month of doing nothing.
Not doing nothing, of processing and refreshing and resetting, so that when you come back, we're coming back fresh. You are bringing you have cushion, like you don't express your emotions. When you're a teacher, you can't go and start crying in front of students when you're having a bad time. Yeah, so we need that 1 month. Those emotions that you were suppressing, we just let them out.
Unapeleka trip Mombasa.
Tujipeleke.
Okay, so even now you're bringing a very important aspect, even as we deviate from the myths, is how do you as teachers make sure that you are in the right state of mind? What do you do to decompress now? Because say in the 3 months period, it's a whole full term.
Yeah.
So how do you protect your mental space and all that? And because you're dealing with a lot of emotions, a lot of people and all that.
I think one of the things that I really like this profession is that we talk. As teachers, we mostly talk, and that is what staff room is for. Like we talk about most of this thing, and we have normalized talking about everything and anything.
Everything and anything.
Yes. So you have like a community of people who get you. A community of people will tell you like, so even if it means that sometimes you're like not in a very good mental space to go to class, you can have another teacher and like, can we switch the classes? I'm going through something and then I can take the other class. And people are very open about it. So that is one of the ways that help us to like get through the term.
You know, in this episode, I'm learning a lot of things, and I think that's why I love this show.
Yeah.
Because I don't think I've ever looked at teachers as human beings.
Yeah.
And even that, not in a bad way, but even that sense of community, I'm like, these are just robots, they go and come, and Missy Pendi, Kile Kimode, and all that, and we have all these nicknames. But then do you have a nickname?
Definitely.
Oh,
I don't know my nickname. I don't know my nickname. That is the thing.
You never know
your nickname, but it's there.
Oh my god. Yeah, because
I hope it's good. That is what at the back of my mind, I'm like, I hope you guys came up with a good
if you are a student, wanakutanga Madam nani?
Madam Siago.
Madam Siago. If you're a student of Madam Siago, ebu comment down below and tell us that nickname that mnamuitanga. I hope simbaya. I hope amumchomei, but most of the time hazikwangi poa, not unless you're this darling.
And that's the thing I usually say. I'd rather not know my nickname because
because you'll be walking here and now they have a name for you because
what you don't know doesn't hurt.
Nice. Okay, so we've talked about what you do to decompress. Do you do now something for your personal development to make sure that penye uliingia si penye uko, that sense of continuous learning?
Yeah. I listen to a lot of podcasts. I talk. I also like music. Music also has a way of cooling me down. Like I've said, when going through a hard time. And then, there are those breathing exercises. There are those days when you just learn to stretch some amount of grace, especially when it comes to you have given out assignments to you haven't done it. You're like, okay, it's so annoying, but at the same time, you can't like control everything. Sometimes you get yourself, you are very invested your time, you want to control everything, but it's beyond your control. So you do what you can, and what you can't, you stretch yourself some grace. Yeah.
Okay. Now, to be honest, now I'll start looking at teachers a different way because I'm like, there are people like us. They love fun. They go through stuff.
Yeah.
Because when you look at teachers, like I said, teachers are held in a high regard.
Yeah.
You're supposed to be perfect.
Yeah.
Usitulete stress zako za home vitu kama hizo. Yeah.
And that is something you have to learn, and that is something that I'm also learning to do, to separate work from my personal issues, because I might have woken up and there's a lot of drama going on in my life, and I'm going to teach a bunch of students, and sometimes a student doesn't do something that is that serious, but unapata una outburst, you have an outburst. So getting to a point where you are like, I have to ask myself before I go to class, like, where am I mentally? What should I do to myself to ensure that as I'm stepping in that class, I'm handling things like the way they are. I'm not like handling them and handling my home issues at the same time. Yeah.
All right. So let's now move into the curriculum. The curriculum right now has changed a lot from 844, which I passed through. Now we have this CBC, and it's supposed to be, I don't know if it's 2-6.
Yeah, 2-6-6. Yeah.
Yeah. First of all, I don't think a lot of sensitization has been done by the government to actually equip us, even know what to expect. As teachers, there was a time there were complaints. Have you been equipped? Do you know what CBC is about? How are you taking the whole thing?
I think we are not ready. As a country, we are not ready for the CBC. And I feel like the first lot, they are going to be seriously disadvantaged.
Yeah.
Seriously disadvantaged in terms even of staffing. You find that it's one teacher who is teaching, and this teacher did history Kiswahili. Imagine this teacher going to teach physics, and this person dropped physics at Form 2 level, or even dropped like agriculture at from one level, because there are schools where they apply this agriculture business, you have to select one. So you're teaching something that you left some very years ago, and because you dropped it, it means you never loved it. And you're teaching students who have to, like, you see, that's why I'm telling you, the first lot has really been disadvantaged. Maybe 6 years down the line, maybe, or 5 or 4 years, maybe we'll be in a better place. But currently, we are not equipped, we are not ready.
Yeah, because when I talk to teachers, I get that sense of we are not ready. But sometimes there was a time and people were like, CBC will help us teach you, if you will help us in terms of talent. So if a student is equipped in a certain way, they will be able to thrive. But I don't think, when you look at it in terms of structure and all that, and there's this she's a professor. Is she a professor or a doctor? Yeah, she's Dr. Wandia Njoya, and she talks about the CBC and the whole curriculum, and it's like people are not listening to her, and people are just interested in changing the whole thing. But like you've said, many teachers feel as if we are not headed in the right direction.
CBC, it's a good thing. It's something that we now to bring out the talents in our students and make this world like a better place, because now you start doing what you really like. There's no need of you being stuck in a physics class or being stuck in and learning about things, and yet you are more talented in the artwork or something and you can do something of your own. It's just that I'm saying, in terms of resources, in terms of teachers, in terms of structure, we are not ready. But if you are provided with all these things, then CBC is the best. Actually, I'm like, why should you do 12 subjects, yet you just need, like, out of the 12, you just need like 4 subjects or 5 subjects to get yourself where you have to do what you want to do.
But do you think that children need to decide from a very young age? Because like even when I look at myself, there are things I didn't think there are things, if I thought at class 4, this is the career trajectory I want to take, I don't think there are things I would love right now. Like, I don't think children have that capacity to decide for themselves that maybe this is what I want. Yeah, what do you think about that in terms of how are children ready to make such decisions, and should people be given an opportunity to just do everything and then decide at a later time?
I think, the thing about we evolve constantly. But it's also a good thing, because it's not like you are making this decision on your own. The kid, you can actually see a kid, even in terms of the way they are conducting themselves, you can see this kid is gifted in this direction. And if this is something that this kid is doing even before going to school, or even she is very, or he's very still going to school but not learning a lot of this stuff, but he can do it, or he can do it. If she's very good in computer and everything, mostly the direction that you'll be taking this student towards, it will be what this person is passionate about. And I believe that if you do something that you're passionate about, even if you don't get employed, there's the satisfaction of, at least I'm doing something that I like. Not like I'm doing something because it's
something that you have to do.
You have to do.
Okay, but CBC has brought a lot of work for the parents. Wazazi wanalalamika.
It's expensive.
It's expensive. Unaitisha photocopy papers. So we've talked about the curriculum. I would want to know about what the teaching industry is doing in terms of adapting to new trends. The new trends that I've seen is in terms of technology. How do you think the teaching industry is doing in that direction?
I think private schools are doing a very great job. Most of them have adapted
technology.
The technology. So most of them have adapted it, but it's difficult for public schools because these parents are struggling to pay school fees. How do you expect this parent to have a smartphone for the kid? So it's something that if our parents were in that position, it's a good thing, because you can even give more work to the students even when they're home. You can like interact with the student even during this long holiday that you have talked about. But if the students they cannot afford to pay school fees, how are they able to buy bundles and stay in a class that you have scheduled during the holiday?
And you've brought something I'm really passionate about, and it's the inequality and injustice in our education system, where there are learners that can afford a certain aspect of things, and then there are those that can't afford, like those in public schools. There was a time that there was this hullabaloo of the introduction of the laptops into schools. Of course, that never came to be, but I think that is something that could have helped other learners that are in the public sector. So what do you think we should do in terms of bridging this gap?
We have a long way to go, because as a country we are still not there. Yeah, if we could have like advanced, it could have made more sense, because the kids they have so many kids. We can't provide laptops to all these kids. And then the electricity is not reliable, especially in those rural areas that are very, very, very interior. So I don't think there's much we can do as for now. Yeah.
So we just have to take things one step at a time.
Yeah, we just have to make peace with the fact that this is where we are at as a moment, and maybe some good years down the line.
I think we need to elect better leaders.
Yes, but is it really a leader problem?
Is it a country problem?
It's a country problem.
It's a country problem.
Yes.
All right. So now bringing it into the classroom setup, when you look at it, how do you support students? Of course, people are able differently, and there are students that can learn easily. There are students that take a longer time. So in your capacity as a teacher, how do you help these students?
Yeah, how do I help them? It starts with the student. So mostly if you identify they are students who are slow learners, then you give them more assignment. And that, as we had talked about it earlier, if this student like genuinely is a student who wants to perform, it's just that she is slow or he is slow, then this student will create more time and like not behave the same way as this student who unafuza na anashika. This student will like wake up very early, sleep very late, constantly bombard you and asking you so many questions and all those things, so that to ensure that she or he gets himself where he wants to be. So that is one of the ways that we do that. Yeah.
So now that when we link what CBC is trying to do in terms of talent, and there are people who are slow learners and there are people who just don't get it in terms of books. Maybe that's not their forte, and maybe they excel in careers. Can you discuss and talk about the role of extracurricular activities in schools and why it's important for people or children to engage in it?
Yeah, it's very important. Yeah, it's very important because there's also sponsorship and scholarships where students are able, or even their students are able to get paid or even be taken to play for a team, like Kenyan team, Harambee Stars, because you're good in football, you're a footballer. You see, so that way it exposes the students and then makes them to be able to make something out of themselves outside the A's and the B's and the quality grid. So we've talked about everything, not everything, but most of the things that are related to teaching. What is this about teaching or the teaching profession that you will say most people don't know about or don't know about teachers? I think one of the things that more people don't know about teachers is that we are humans. And the moment we start teaching these students, they're like our kids. And in as much as people feel like tunaonea watoto wao, it's not like tunaonea watoto wao. It's because we are trying to put ourselves through the shoes of being a parent. And we want the best for this student. We don't cane students, or we don't like talk to students because we hate them or because you have an attitude with them. It's because we are like, we want you to be better. So we are doing out of love. And then the other thing about teachers that most people should know is that the aspect of still being human, like we have our emotions, and so like the parents, it's very important for them to teach their students to be disciplined, to know how to talk to us with some level of respect, and when they are summoned because the student has done something, they should come with an open mind to listen to both parties and not make us to diminish, to make teachers like okay kama wewe mwalimu wewe, so unadharau mwalimu, you are the parent, what do you expect us your kid to do to us?
Mm. Thank you very much. So on to my favorite segment, the games section. And before that, I'll delve into a trending topic. But this is in the case of, and it's something that happens in the teaching profession, and you talked about it earlier on in this conversation, is when teachers go out with students. What drives them? I know you have not been in that position, but I would want to know, for somebody to actually get to that place, and what do you think about that whole thing, where teachers and students get engaged in romantic relationships?
Yeah, I feel like the teacher lacks sexual discipline. Because yes, you might be attracted to people.
Yeah.
And the truth is, we always get attracted to people. Not even the students. Like, even you might look at someone and like, damn, this one has the qualities that I have. But you go around and have sex with these people.
No.
Yeah, because you have to like have a control of your sexual drive. Yeah, and then for the students, they are easily gullible, because at that point they're like discovering about their sexuality, they're learning about sex, their peers are talking about it. So when they're looking at you, they feel like you're more experienced, so probably they're like give in so easily.
Yeah.
So as a teacher, you have to be the bigger person and like control your sexual drive, and know that even if the urge is there so much, go for your a staff mate. Or even date their parents, the parent to this student. If this student is hot, it means their parents are hot. Ask the student to give you their mother's number. Or you are a madam teacher, ask them to give you their father's number. Like, explore that. It's allowed, but not the student. Yeah.
Yeah, what was Semango, unachukua that wife and you dress them in uniform if you are so attracted to Nini. Yeah, but that's so wrong.
It's very wrong. Yeah. It's very wrong. Yeah, not just because you're like putting yourself like, I might be a parent someday and then my kid is having sex with that teacher, but in a sense of morality.
Yeah, some things are despicable to say the least.
Yeah.
Alright, so into the easy, you will let a lot of emotions. Yeah, but you are a biology and agriculture teacher.
Yeah.
And I have some trivia questions to ask you today.
Wow.
And your students will see you and how you will be exposed when you don't know these answers. So I want you to answer a few questions that are related to biology and see how well you do in them. Alright? So what is the white part of the inside of an egg called?
Albumin.
What? Okay, so you are really smart. What blood type do you need to be a universal donor?
Blood group O.
Alright. Okay, which O? Is it negative? Is it positive?
Negative. Positive, you can't donate to a negative because of the antigen-antibody reaction.
Hey. Oof. Okay. Which bone is the longest bone in the human body?
Femur.
Yeah. Okay. What is known as the master gland of the human body?
Master gland. Pituitary gland.
Okay. What? Most adults have how many canine teeth?
Canine teeth. 4.
Madam Siago, you are really killing it. Okay, wacha tuone. What is the largest organ of the human body?
Skin.
Wacha nitafuta zile ngumu. A person able to use both hands with equal skill is called what?
That's what I mean.
Lidhani utatungaria hapa. It's I don't know, ambidextrous.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You know it? Acha tuende into this hard ones. Unaningaria hapa bana. What does the acronym DNA stand for?
Deoxyribonucleic acid.
What is the largest internal organ of the human body?
Heart.
Internal organ of the human body.
Not heart. Not liver.
It's the liver.
Liver, yeah.
What is the name of a protein that acts as a biological catalyst?
Enzyme.
Tuseme tu for example, unaweza kufanyia mtu KCSE. Will you say it's the experience ama because unazikwenda? Alright. Approximately 2% of all people have what eye color?
Black. Brown.
Okay, here they've reached approximately 2%.
Oh, 2%. White. Okay, I don't know.
We have called it green. Okay, let's see. Penicillin was discovered in 1928 by which Scottish scientist?
Yes, you do.
Sir Alexander Fleming. The molecule hemoglobin is used in which type of cells?
Red blood cells.
Which gland is the human body regulates metabolism?
Pituitary gland.
The thyroid.
Thyroid, yeah.
What is the most common blood type in humans?
Blood type.
AB.
Money.
So positive.
Oh, positive.
Yeah. The world's fastest growing plant is a species of what? The world's fastest growing plant is a species of what? They have said bamboo. Aya, acha tuende back to nini to biology kidogo. The adult human skeleton is made up of how many bones?
22.
206.
206.
It's the 206. Okay. A deficiency of what vitamin may lead to dry eyes and night blindness?
C. Okay. C.
It's vitamin A.
Vitamin A.
Alright. On to the last one. What is the name of the upper arm bone found in humans?
Upper?
What is the name for the upper arm bone found in humans?
This bone. It
starts with an H.
Oh,
Humerus.
Humerus.
Alright, sawa. As we finish this up, how many counties does Kenya have?
The president's day account.
Is it 42 or 47?
47.
Yeah. So watu huku wameiva biology but they don't know about their country. Alright, sawa. Alright, so even as we wind up the show, what advice do you have for, first of all, a student who aspires and wants to get those A's? What should they do?
I would advise them, one of the things is discipline. I'm very huge on discipline, because when you are disciplined and you will not have problem with the teachers, and the teachers would want to work with you, so it will be easier for you to achieve whatever it is you want to do, to have, and then have a clear mind of what you want. And I know that myth about unakuja form 1 you want to be a doctor, form 2 you are like I would rather be a teacher, and then from 3 you're like bora nipate hiyo makaratasi. So like when you have decided I want to be a doctor, walk to that school, be like a doctor, like behave like what a doctor would be, look at what the doctor, which grades do I want to achieve, and then work towards that. High school is so much work. As I've always told my students, there hakuna kulala, uko tu ni give it your best. Kwa campus you might have some serious amount of time to like have fun and at the same study, but in high school just put in your best foot forward. It's just 4 years.
Hey, 4 years unasema ni kama like 4 years. Yeah, and I feel like you've really called me out on form 1 uko like nataka nini. Si uongo, kwanza form 2 umeshauma D ama O. Uko like si lazima wewe, si lazima let's say no komrui and all that. Okay, so what does the future look like for you
as a teacher?
Yes.
The future looks, like I said, the future looks bright. Of course, that is, we speak life to our future.
Yes.
Yeah, so I feel like the future looks good for me, because I've just been in the profession for 3 years and I've learned so much. So I'm looking forward to learning a lot. I'm looking forward to even expanding my social network and being more productive and
You've said that you've learned a lot. What are some of the key things or key skills that you will say you have learned?
So I have learned to be confident. I have learned to be patient, because dealing with human beings is not easy.
I need a team.
Yeah. So learning that, and learning even to like sitting down with yourself and with your goals and analyzing them. Like, it's not just about I'm going back to school for masters and that is it. Right now you sit down with yourself and you're like, what do I want to do? Who do I want to be? These are not the questions that I could have asked myself back in the day. It was just like, nimeshamaliza degree, masters, kaende. So you don't even take time to like analyze what you want to go and do. So
yeah. So what advice do you have for people who are aspiring to be teachers in future or to take it as a profession?
I would tell them that teaching is not as bad of a profession as people try to put it, because you have a lot of time. You can at the same time like teach and explore other things, other fields that you'd want to do. So as part-time. So that 2 months that you're at home, if you are passionate about farming, you can do the farming. If you are passionate about IT, you can do like your online things as you're still being a teacher.
Yeah.
So it's a good thing, and I feel like it's something that you would want to do. Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much, Whitney, for coming and gracing us with your presence on the show. It has been an absolute pleasure. I have learned so much about the teaching professions, and I hope that our viewers have also learned the same. I usually ask people if they have questions for me. So do you have any question for me, even as we wind up the show? And then utatufungia show.
Yeah. Okay. What first of all, I have to say that I'm also glad to be here. As I started and I said that this is my very first interview, and even as you're interviewing me, I was also learning a few things about myself. So thank you so much for having me, and I hope that people would subscribe to this and watch to this, because these are very good content. Yeah. Yeah. And one question for you is, how is it like interviewing people?
I think it's very satisfactory, because I get to hear things from a different perspective. I am used to interviewing people when they are applying for jobs, and in that context you want people to prove something, but in this context we have nothing to prove, and I'm just here learning. And for me, I think this gives me a lot of joy, because now from here I look at teachers as people. I not look at them as robots, machines, that they have to behave in a certain way, and even just give them more grace. Even to our viewers, give more grace to teachers. They go through a lot, and the things that they do for us, I must admit that I do respect teachers a lot, because I think that is demanding. Yeah. So I feel for me it's that angle that I'm able to look at things and I'm like, whoa, okay. Yeah. So I think it's also the learning for me, and that's why I really love this show, because in as much as it inspires people, we get to learn on the job. Yeah, and I think this is something that I'm going to be doing in the long term.
That's so nice. That's so nice. Yeah.
Alright. So sawa, wacha niku take on to being an interviewer. Tumalizie show, mimi nimeenda. Maliza. Ambia watu wa subscribe.
This was so fun, and I would urge everyone to subscribe, like, and share on all your social media this channel, the
Maisha Chapters.
I can really poor at this.
Subscribe and let's do life together, guys.
Let's do life together.
Alright. Peace out.